Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Okay. It's a photo of a magazine or of a newspaper. It looks like a magazine because there are two main columns. On the left is a story. You're in the focus. It's a photo with three people. You're in the middle. Where you look good in blue. You know you look good in blue. I like it. So you're wearing a blue jacket. You're wearing a shirt which may be the logo of your. We haven't talked about your music. It's hard for me to tell. Underneath it says motivational speaker shares message with Karapichaima. How did you say that?
Karapichaima, yeah.
East students. Love it. And then next to that is a photo of you standing in front of a bunch of kids in a classroom. And then there's like a byline too small for me to read. And then there's an ad for public notice. Yes, motivational speaker shares message. What's this?
This photo hit home for me because the high school I attended, this was actually at the library in that high school. I got called by a guy named Dr. Jerome Tiloxing, and he is one of the persons who played a pivotal role in advocating for International Men's Day. And he asked me if I would like to speak to students in my area because they were trying to have outreach, specifically boys. And I said, sure. So I asked to speak to the two secondary schools because the way our institutions were structured when I was younger, there were junior secondary school and senior secondary school, and junior secondary school would have been a 3-year school and senior secondary school would have been like 4 years. But these types of schools were like technical schools where you would learn trades, plumbing and mechanics and all these different types of things, hands-on skills. So I was unable to speak with Kapichaima Junior Secondary School, now known as Kapichaima West, but I was able to speak at Kapichaima East Secondary School, formerly known as Kapichaima Senior Comprehensive. So when I got the opportunity, I took it. I went, I created a PowerPoint presentation, and I spoke to the youngest of the Form 1, or the youngest of the boys in the schools, which would be the Form 1 age bracket. Those are people who just came out of primary school and entered into high school. And I shared and I broke down what is mental health. It was for commemoration of Day of the Boy Child, the Day of the Boy Child. That's what I went in to speak about, but I shared.
Right.
I give my testimony and some of the things that I dealt with, and I shared with the students some of the activities that I am involved in as well. And it was received well because that was in collaboration with NALIS, our national library, the National Library System of Trinidad and Tobago. They collaborated with Dr. Jerome Tiloxing, and I got the opportunity to speak to the school where I attended, like the secondary school I attended. So that was great. And I felt like after going through what I went through, being able to come back and give back to my community or to an institution that I attended, it was great. It was something that I look forward to continuously do every year if the opportunity presents itself.
So one of the things that I do professionally is I do training. I go into organizations and I talk about basically how to make people feel better, and if they feel better, they work better. Okay, so usually it's commercial, it's within a company or anything, and one of the programs that I have is to look at the 12 dimensions of a service leader, right? So we have multi dimensions. You can just name a bazillion dimensions, but we name 12. for it to be kind of comprehensive. And one of the dimensions is to give to something that is bigger than yourself, right? So in your case, giving back to that school, Kapichaima, yes, either the east or the west one. So how about you talk about, because in a way, what you're doing through your podcast, through your live stream, through your engagements, going into schools and telling your story, is a gift. Like, you're giving people your story and saying, okay, this is where I've come from. This is how you can hopefully learn. So why don't you talk about the role of giving to something that's bigger than yourself?
I feel amazing to give to something that's bigger than myself, because every day is a blessing for me. My story is a story where the nurses at the psychiatric hospital were feeding me because I was not in my right mind. I went
Mm.
off the deep end, and it was
Mm-hmm.
something that, it's like being able to have these opportunities to share and give back to society whilst continuously overcoming obstacles that may come my way, and remembering what it felt like whilst I was out of my mind. Because I think that there's a misconception that people have when someone has experienced a mental health disorder. They tend to think that all all of the time the people who are going through that forget what they were going through, or not are not aware of what they were going through whilst they were having a psychotic episode or a mental
Mm-hmm.
breakdown. It's like things were happening to me, but I was right there whilst it was happening to me, trapped, and had no control over what I was doing and what was happening to me. So
Mm.
I remember what I was feeling and seeing. I was there, but I had no control over it. So now, when I share or do anything, it's like the people who I choose to talk with and speak to is like, they know, yeah, this guy, he doesn't have to say anything, but he chose to come and speak to me. And he also listens when they are speaking. So it's like I am struggling to find the words to express how amazing it is to be doing great things, yet be humble about it. But I'm just grateful for these opportunities. Really, really
Mm-hmm.
grateful for these opportunities.
Well, you saying that makes me aware of the fact that here we are, right? For some weird reason, our worlds crossed paths, right? You're seated in a room 12 hours behind me. I'm seated in a room 12 hours ahead in completely different world. And yet somehow, like a miracle, really, the stuff inside your skull, in your brain, and how it's developed is reaching the stuff inside my skull and my brain and how it's developed. And I'm looking at this photo of you sharing within a classroom of other boys your story. It's actually it's miraculous. It's if we think about it, it's really kind of just it's an amazing moment. Now, somebody who's listening who's from another part of the world that we can't even imagine, right? Like, who lives on an island somewhere in the Pacific Ocean or whatever, who's listening to this. How do we share a bit of knowledge in their heads to understand, oh, wait a second, if they're going through a difficult moment, or if they're feeling alone, or if they're feeling confused or lost, like what would you say to that person?
I would say it's okay. It's okay. Sometimes we have to get lost in order to find ourselves. And sometimes we have to lose our mind in order to renew it. Sometimes something needs to be emptied in order for it to be filled. So someone who needs uh, a good word or uh, to be pointed in the right direction, so long as they're focused on trying to find answers out of nowhere, answers come, and it's like a blessing. There are so many diverse cultures where I'm from. Yeah, I live in a cosmopolitan society, so it's Islamic, it's Christian based, there's Hinduism, there's there are many various types of belief systems where I'm from. But I would tell someone who is lost, all boils down to how you deal with being lost. You can choose to panic whilst being lost, or you can choose to take it easy. That's what I
Mm-hmm,
would say
mm-hmm,
to someone.
mm-hmm. So how long were you in hospital for?
I was alright, so around this time of year, I would have, and when I was 21, I would have been having a mental health breakdown around this time of year. This is a really touchy time of year for me. So, 10 years ago, I would have been having
Oh,
episodes
okay.
around this time, leading into Christmas, the Christmas season. I would have found myself in rehab
Yeah.
early November, between late October and early November. I was in rehab for the program was supposed to be 90 days. I spent 100 days in rehab. Halfway through my rehabilitation center stay, I was committed. So I would have spent approximately 8 to 9 days inside the asylum. Now I wasn't all well when they let me out. I had to pretend to be okay, otherwise I would
Mm-hmm.
have been in there. I'm telling you.
You've said too much. You've said too much.
But I wasn't there for the Christmas season. Yeah, and
Okay. Okay. Just so that you know, for just so you know about me a little bit, so we're sharing a little bit. I was run over by a car. I was in a coma, and then I was paralyzed, and I was hospitalized for months, and then after that, so it took about hospitalized maybe 3 to 4 months, and then it took a year for me to kind of recover. But yeah, so I don't know how you feel about those places. Like, to a certain extent, once you fall into those places, in a way, it's almost relief because you're like, okay, take care of me because I am absolutely defenseless. I don't know if that's how you feel, but so when was the last time you needed to have medical attention?
I had a bad relationship in 2020. That was during COVID-19. And that placed me in a tailspin where I won't call it medical attention, but I needed therapy. I
Yeah.
looking for therapy. I started attending clinic regularly, more often than I would have had to. I reached out to a society in Trinidad and Tobago called the Archdiocese, where
Yep.
they counsel persons, and I had counselors come into my home in order to give me relief because I was in a really dark place, yeah, and I didn't like being in that dark place.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Kareem, I think we should go to the next photo. So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting